coming in at number 86, we have Dallas Cowboys inside linebacker Jaylon Smith. And you just want to talk about one of the league's brightest and best young talents. Look no further than this man right here, because I know a lot of people, they might be focused on and fixated on that number in the top left and think that I'm somehow underselling or disrespecting Jaylon and what he brings to the Cowboys defense week in and week out. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth, because, I only have 5 other linebackers, off-ball linebackers ahead of him, from 85 to 1. And all 5 of those guys have been first-team All-Pros within the last few years. So I don't think this is disrespectful in any way. I actually think that it's a compliment to say that he is that next man out. And, essentially, you might look at it as next man out, but I kind of look at it as next man in. You see the Levante Davids, Bobby Wagner's, DeMario Davis's, a lot of those guys, they're late 20s, early 30s. Well, guess what? If you talk about a career trajectory, they're at that point where they're about to kind of leave and exit their athletic prime. Well, Jaylon Smith just turned 25 years old on June 14th, and that's insane and kind of mind-boggling to think about in its own right, because what we've seen to this point might only be an appetizer. Obviously, happy belated birthday to Jaylon, but if this man continues his upward trajectory, I think the sky's the limit with him. And, we might be sitting here in 2 or 3 years with this man as a top 10 player in the entire league. But as of right now, number 86. So I've got a lot of clips that I want to show you guys today. But, first things first, we're going to talk about his athleticism, because I do think this is kind of at the bottom of all the stuff that he does really well. I just want to pull up a couple plays that really exhibit how much of a freak athlete he is. Here's one play where the ball is being snapped, and he is, 4 yards off the ball at about the 36-yard line on the backside A gap, right? Well, look at how on this play, on this kind of stunt or twist, however you want to call it, he's able to get across not only the center but the guard, bang up this front side B gap, and then tackle Daniel Jones at like the 48-yard line for a sack. Just there are very few guys who can cover that much ground, both laterally and just straight up the field in such a short period of time. But Jaylon Smith, he is one of the most athletic guys in the league. It's a shame that we didn't get to see him do a lot of the combine drills, because he might have been right up there with the Deion Joneses of the world, honestly, just in terms of how fast he actually is. And here's another example that I love, because again, just look at him lined up. What is that? A couple yards outside that defensive left hash, and he's standing up in the B gap, creeped up to the line of scrimmage. It looks like he's just going to come on a straight blitz. Well, he takes a step or two and then starts to twist over top. And look at how he just covers so much ground so fast. And, it looks like that blitz might have been designed actually, or this twist, I should say, might have been designed to hit in this kind of backside A gap, we'll call it. Well, that's not there. Jaylon recognizes that the center is doing a good job mirroring him. So what does he do? He takes it all the way around the opposite C gap and somehow brings down Teddy Bridgewater. It's just plays like these are freakish level plays. A lot of times I talk about guys' athleticism and say like, oh, he's explosive, or oh, he has a quick first step. Well, Jaylon is like the dictionary definition of just athleticism at that linebacker position. Not only is it Jaylon's like straight line speed though that's so impressive, it's also his kind of lateral movement skills as well, in terms of just changing direction on the fly. And that's what you're going to see here. Well, it gets cut off for a second, but you'll see him just off the snap shuffling to his right as he goes with Dallas Goedert, and then all of a sudden he pops back on the middle of the screen, coming across his left, full speed with Zach Ertz as he chases him down, gets in his hip pocket, and really forces an incompletion. And it just plays like that where a lot of guys are not fluid enough to be able to take multiple shuffle steps in one direction and then come back sprinting across the other way and without allowing any separation. It's just so impressive. And here's a play that, I'll be honest, I call it short area quickness, just because of the burst that he shows really off the snap as he goes and tackles J.D. McKissick. But I more so just put it on here because this is a crazy tackle, and this is what Jaylon Smith brings. He is an absolute missile out there. Once he decides to go, like he goes. And I feel bad for poor J.D. McKissick, because Jaylon Smith just clotheslined him like it's WWE or something. And but this is real, and that actually hurt, I guarantee it. This shouldn't really come as a shock to anybody, considering just his freakish athleticism, but he also has freakish range too. And range is not just a purely athletic achievement; it's also the kind of result of somebody who's quick at mental processing as well. And that's what Jaylon Smith shows here, primarily in the fact that he's able to start on that defensive left hash and weave through traffic and bring down Dave Montgomery on this right sideline. It's just plays like that where everybody tosses around the term sideline to sideline linebacker. Well, Well, Jaylon Smith, he actually lives it and shows it on a game-in, game-out basis. And here's another example, potentially equally impressive, because this time, instead of being untouched from the far hash, this time he does get blocked a little bit from the near hash, and he still is able to just make a play. And, again, you have an offensive lineman go to cut him, and it just doesn't matter, because Jaylon Smith, as we're going to talk about later, he's so good at just deconstructing blocks and not losing any speed while he's doing it. And that's what he shows here. He's able to just roam from hash to sideline with so much ease. And he only gave up, 2 yards of ground on that play. Just beautiful stuff. And, kind of everything we've talked about to this point also makes Jaylon Smith very dominant in coverage as well, because he has the fluid hips to be able to kind of turn and run with guys. He has the IQ to process and work through what route combinations guys are running. And, at the end of the day, a lot of his reps in pass coverage look like this. Here he is going up against Javon Wims in the end zone, and Mitch Trubisky tossed it up there, and Jaylon Smith is suffocating him in the back of the end zone to prevent a touchdown. And, when I say a lot of his reps look like that, well, here is the very next play, because I don't know if the Bears and Mitch Trubisky saw something that they thought they could exploit here, but it's very hard to exploit Jaylon Smith in coverage, and that's exactly what you're going to see, because, surprise, surprise, they run virtually the same route again, and they get the same result again. Jaylon Smith knocks it out back-to-back plays, because that's just what he does. Even though maybe they're trying to catch him off guard by running the same play, he's just so tuned in mentally that, he's not going to make stupid mistakes like that. Once you show him it once, it's kind of imprinted in him, and he's not going to give it up again. And here's another one from that same game, actually, where this time it's going to be Allen Robinson that he's against. And we all know Allen Robinson as that big body receiver who's able to come down with these kind of 50-50 contested catches. Well, it doesn't matter when it's going up against Jaylon Smith, because what you're going to have here is he does a nice job anticipating the route. And, he realizes that once Mitch starts that throwing motion, he needs to break on the ball, and he drives up on it and is able to get his hand all the way across Allen's body and poke the ball out. And it just plays like this, where, you see great hand-eye coordination with Jaylon as he's able to get his hand in there and prevent what, again, would have been a first down, in this case, a touchdown in the last two. And it just, he's shown immense improvement from college, where he was already good, but somehow in the NFL, he's even better. And I say somehow, but it really shouldn't even come as a surprise, because this guy is just so good all around. So we've talked about the sideline-to-sideline speed in terms of making rangy plays against the run. We've talked about his ability to work back in zone coverage and, his fluid hips as he's changing direction. Well, what about his ability to just fill against the run and make plays at the line of scrimmage? And, he might check that box better than he does the other two, because, man, he's just so strong at the point of contact. And that's what you're going to see here. He's going to just absorb a blow as he shoots this B-gap by David Bakhtiari, who by all accounts is one of the best tackles in the entire NFL. And look at how he just fights through this contact and almost bounces off Bakhtiari and is able to, without giving up any ground, make the play on Tyler Ervin for a short gain. It's just crazy when you think that this man's an inside linebacker and he just eats a punch from one of the league's best. It's kind of nuts. And, one adage that a lot of coaches like to use is you need to be the hammer, not the nail. And, for a lot of guys, that'll go in one ear and out the other. Well, Jaylon Smith, it's definitely stuck somewhere in the middle there. It did not go out that other ear, because, just look at him here on this play. You're going to have the Dolphins running a nice little counter back to this left side where, they're blocking down on Jaylon Smith with Michael Diter, and he actually is in a great spot to make a huge block on Jaylon. And that's why I'm going to pause it for you guys just before contact. What you see here is on this play, you have a man ready to kick out the edge. You have a tight end, Mike Gesicki, coming up to wrap on Leighton Vander Esch. And then as long as Diter can seal Jaylon Smith and take him either, quickly out this way, block him out, or, continue to kind of wedge him down, this play is primed to rip, and you're going to have Kalen Ballage one-on-one with this deep safety, right? Well, that's the problem, is that Jaylon Smith refuses to be the nail. And even though Michael Diter has, he has a 4-yard head start on Jaylon Smith does not care. He absolutely just thrusts that shoulder into him because he welcomes that contact, and he kind of floors Diter and is able to wrap up Kalen Ballage at the same time. But what I want you to see is, okay, if Diter does block out on Jaylon Smith and, walls him off, again, look at that. It's Kalen Ballage one-on-one against a safety who's 20 yards downfield. Jaylon Smith saves a huge gain on this play just because of his aggressiveness at the point of attack. And, it's plays like these that he's making on a very consistent basis that just stand out compared to his peers. And, on that last play, it was his shoulder he was thrusting into his opponent. Well, this time it's his hands. And this is just beautiful how Jaylon Smith is able to place these hands. And what you're going to see is just how he shocks the blocker and, how he tosses those hands in there. And, a center is not expecting that. you know, a lot of times when you're an offensive lineman, you're expecting a guy to try and, you know, work around you or work over top of you. It's very rare that they are going to bring those hands and be willing to take you on head on at the point of attack. And Jaylon Smith does exactly that. And, you know, that punch displaces the Vikings center to the point where Jaylon is able to really regain control of that gap and bring down Madison for a short gain. But, you know, without his hands, without those heavy hands that he's bringing on contact, you know, this play again might be one that could rip. And last but certainly not least, I just have a couple of clips of Jaylon Smith, you know, getting off the blocks and making beautiful plays against the run, because it really is just him putting everything together. You're going to see that sideline to sideline range. You're going to see the short area quickness and explosiveness once he kind of makes those initial reads and is reacting to what the offense is doing. You're going to see that strength and contact balance as he fights through opposing blocks. And then you're going to see really just that hand-eye coordination and that really hand technique as he's utilizing some really nice moves to get off of these offensive players' blocks. So, you know, here Patriots are going to be running a zone play to the left. Well, look at how Shaq Mason actually gets in a great position to make the backside cutoff on Jaylon Smith. And right there, Shaq Mason has to be thinking this is a win. And, you know, if this is a win, now we're getting in dangerous territory because, okay, we have Isaiah Wynn for Sean Lee. We have a wide receiver for that cornerback. If Joe Thuney, you know, franchise tag left guard, if he can seal Michael Bennett, and, you know, now we have the backside cutoff, this play is Sony Michel on a safety backside with 30 yards to go to the end zone. I'll probably take Sony Michel in that matchup. Well, what happens? Look at how Jaylon Smith does such a great job of striking that right hand on Mason's back to get him off balance, falling forward, and then, you know, just as he's about to get grabbed, he tosses that left hand over the top for a quick swim move and is able to disengage and make the play. And what you're going to see here is, let me pause it. Obviously, Michael Bennett also gets off, but like right here, let's just assume that Michael Bennett is blocked by Joe Thuney. If Jaylon Smith does not get off this play, look at those fits that we have all on the outside here by the Patriots. This play is just primed to rip up that B gap, and without Jaylon Smith consistently being able to get off these blocks and disrupt these plays from the backside, like this play might be a touchdown. And here's another one against New England again that might look like the same play just from the other side, but, you know, it's again just Shaq Mason getting himself in a decent position for a backside cutoff, and, you know, right here, like that's not a bad position. You just need like one or two more steps, kind of flip your hips a little bit, and you got him. Or just go down right now and try and cut him. You know, that's what we saw here on the backside. Just cut this man. And again, you have a huge cutback lane. Well, what actually happens? Jaylon Smith, he makes sure he's going to be the hammer, not the nail. Gets those hands in there, shocks Shaq Mason, gets off of him immediately, and then is able to kind of keep fighting through contact and make another play. Just so beautiful. And here's the last one. You guys are probably sick of this, but, man, I could watch this all day because this is just Jaylon Smith being a football player. You know, here he is. Again, this play is going to be more on the front side, going up against Josh Klein as he climbs up to the second level. Well, look at how Jaylon Smith, he's taking on Klein head on. But you know, as I've said multiple times now, Jaylon Smith is not scared of that. He just shocks those hands in there, and, you know, almost like a defensive end or a defensive lineman, he's able to bench press that man off of him, and obviously just immediately find the ball carrier and bring him down for a beautiful solo tackle in space. And again, it's just plays like these, game in, game out, that Jaylon Smith is already making at, you know, one of the most consistent rates in the NFL now. And he only just turned 25. And I can't wait to see where this man's at in a couple of years, because like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's top 10, top 15 on my list. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, make sure you leave a comment. You know, just tell me what are your thoughts on Jaylon Smith. You know, even just compare him to, if you guys haven't watched a bunch of linebacker film or aren't super familiar with the linebackers that are yet to come, just compare him to, you know, the Deion Joneses and Anthony Barrs that I've already done videos on. You know, how do you think he compares to those two guys? Because I think that he's a more complete player than those guys, and, you know, he kind of takes the best of what both of them offer and mashes them into one. And that's why he's so fun to watch and so special to me. But, you know, I always love to hear what you guys think as well. And, you know, for anybody who's new to the channel and, you know, this is maybe your first video, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe. You know, we have what, 85 more of these kind of on the way down the pipeline. And, you know, if you're a Cowboys fan in particular, I want to say we have at least like 5 Cowboys left. I mean, you probably know all the names, but still, if you enjoyed me kind of breaking down and analyzing what these players do well, then, you know, you won't, I'm sure you won't be disappointed when it comes to the Zeke Elliott's and Zach Martins, and we all know the names. I'm not going to spoil them all. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm mic'd up. Now I'm mic'ing out. Peace, guys.